Hey everybody, welcome to Keyboard Skills Pro. My name is Tom and it's a great pleasure to have your company here today on my YouTube channel. And in this lesson we're going to take a look at basic fingering patterns when playing chords on the keyboard or the piano. And I'd like to thank my platinum patron Sam Johnson for his request, because he says, Tom, he said, I'm coming to the keyboard and the organ from the bass guitar and I'd like you to suggest to me how I would go about using the right fingers on different kinds of chords on the left and the right hands. Well, Sam, thanks for the question. It's my pleasure to answer this for you now as best I can. So when you start off on the keyboard or the piano, there are basically three shapes of chords that you're going to learn. And a lot of the chords you'll play in the early stages will just be on the white key. So for example, a C chord, an F chord, a G chord, maybe an A minor, a D minor. Okay, so those will be some of your basic chords. Now, there are three kinds of shapes that chords can be built in. We have the root shape, and the root chord, or the root shape for the chord, is when you play, for example, a C chord, the lowest note is the same name as the chord symbol. So a C chord symbol, which means C major, is labelled that because the bottom note there, the lowest one, is a C. But then there's two other shapes. There's the first inversion and the second inversion, and we'll take a look at those in just a moment. Now, when you're playing root chords on the white notes, I find that the best thing to use on the right hand, and this is the fingering that is fairly standardized, is 1, 3, 5. Okay, 1 on the bottom note, 3 on the middle note, and 5 on the top note. And that's the best fingering, because if I lift that up and then play an F chord in root, you can see there, look, I'm using the same patterns. Here's a G chord. There you go, look, 1, 3, 5, A minor, B diminished, and C major at the end there. So that's the root shape, and the right hand, it's best to use 1, 3, and 5. Now, the next shape is the first inversion, and that's where we have a third at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, between the bottom and the middle note, and the top note, look, is an extra one, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can't really use that same fingering. We can do, but it does create a bit of a stretch here on the hand. So it's much more comfortable for the human hand and for the muscles to use the 1 and the 2 together at the bottom there like that. Okay, my little finger is going to play the C at the top, and this is a C chord, but in first inversion. So you have 1, 2, 3 at the bottom, and then an interval or a space of 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. The second inversion takes those same two intervals, the third and the fourth, but it swaps them the other way round. So we have the fourth at the bottom, so G and C, and then we've got the fifth finger on the E. But in this example, look, I'm using 1, 3, 5. Again, I could do this or this, but again, we're wasting fingers, we're straining our hand. So 1, 3, 5 is best, I find, for the right hand second inversion. So let's just recap those. Root position is 1, 3, 5. Second inversion is 1, 2, sorry, I beg your pardon, first inversion, get my numbers right. First inversion is 1, 2, 5, and second inversion is 1, 3, 5. And so as you jump around different C chords, look, like this for example, you can get some very nice tones from those particular shapes of chords. So what happens is, as you jump around from one chord to the next, you have to practice changing from one inversion to another. In fact, a good exercise is to go root position, first, second, first, root, and practice actually using those shapes. Look, 1, 3, 5, 1, 2, 5, 1, 3, 5, and just walk your way around, and then do the same on an F chord. So F major, look, 1, 3, 5, first inversion, 1, 2, 5, and then 1, 3, 5 for second inversion. Now, the next thing, of course, is what do you do if you're using your left hand? Well, let's change the camera around to the left-hand position, and you can then see here that we've got the same patterns, but we are obviously doing a mirror image. So again, root position, look, instead of 1, 3, 5, it's the other way around, 5, 3, 1. First inversion would be, I quite like 5, 3, 1 again on that one. And then for the second inversion, use your index finger 5, 2, 1. And again, look, we're letting the hand just lay very neatly on those keys, and that makes that sound really good. So root position 5, 3, 1. First inversion 5, 3, 1. And second inversion 5, 2, 1. Okay, and you just practice that. So again, do it with the F chord, look. Root position, up to first inversion, down to second inversion. There it is, look, that index finger. So that all looks very nice, very smart. But what then happens when, of course, you get into notes with black notes in? Well, again, we can use those same fingers. So here's a B flat chord, look, in second inversion. So again, I would look at my different shapes. And so when I played the C chord, look, I used 1, 3, 5. That was the second inversion C chord. So if I go to a second inversion B flat, I can use the same fingers. If I'm playing a, let's say a first inversion B flat, I have to use some different fingers this time. Look, 1, 2, 4. Because if I use 1, 2, 5, it's a little dangerous, I might slip off there, but the fourth finger certainly sits a lot better there, look. If I'm playing a root chord of B flat, I might use 1, 3 and 5 again. So it kind of depends on which chord you're coming from and which chord you're going to. But that's the basics of those kind of piano fingers, which work really well when you're starting out on the keyboard or the piano coming from another instrument. Now, what you have to practice, as I said earlier, is when you move from one chord to the other, is don't just keep everything in the same inversion shape. You need to change them to make them interesting. So for example, I might start off with a C chord in first inversion, and then I might go to a F chord in root. So I just move my thumb up, look, here's my middle finger on the A. That worked well, doesn't it? So like I'm going from my first inversion fingering to my root position fingering. And then I might go to a G chord, but you see, this time I don't need to bring my little finger down. I'm going to use that 1, 2, 4 pattern. This is the second G chord, because then I need to swing and have a finger ready, my little finger, ready for first inversion C chord. So watch the screen, see how those kind of change, how those waft through. Look, watch. Now on that G chord, I could use this fingering, but then I've got to lift up, look. Whereas if I use 1, 2, 4, I've got my little finger ready for C. So most of the time it's 1, 3 and 5, but you will sometimes bring your fourth finger in just to make those changes a little bit easier. The best thing to do is to write out some 4 or 8 links of chords, so C, F, D minor, G, C, F, D minor, G. Write them out and practice different inversions. Look, C, F, D minor, G, and then start on root. C, F, D minor, G. Those are all roots. Look, see how I'm jumping around? Doesn't sound very musical. So let's start with 1, second inversion F, for root chord D, second inversion G to first C. And not only does it teach you your inversions, but it also gets you used to using those finger patterns. So I hope that's been useful. Thanks so much to Platinum member Sam, and Sam supports the channel along with some lovely other people on patreon.com/Keyboard Skills Pro, where you can get access to lots of bonus videos, lesson PDFs, and loads of other things. And in the case of gold and platinum level, you can actually choose up to 5 of your own personal videos for me to record, which is what Sam has done. So thanks to Sam for his lesson on basic chord fingering on the keyboard. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit subscribe, and we'll see you soon for another fun video here on Keyboard Skills Pro. Bye bye.